Hello, I'm called Jingonelli and I'm going to be taking you through another part of the database models. And before I begin off, I'm going to require you to subscribe and also follow what I'm pointing at because I'm already having laid down information. So, looking at the second model, the network data model, with this, the network data model is an expansion of the hierarchical database model where a child node can have multiple parent nodes and supports one-to-many relationships and can also support many-to-many relationships. And below I'm having an example of the parent node and also the child node having the departments A, department B, and C. Then moving on to the advantages. It handles more relationship types like one-to-many, many-to-many. Then conceptually simple and easy to design. Searching a record is easy since there are multiple access paths to a data and element. Then I'm having the disadvantages. System complexity. A user-friendly database management system cannot be created using the network model because users need to be familiar with the internal structure. Then disadvantage number 2, lack of structural independency. Making structural modifications to the database requires the application programs to be modified also before they can access data. Then looking at the third model, which is the entity relationship database model. So under this model, data is represented in the entity data relationships such as one-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-many. Then entity relationship uses associations as their primary keys. Then entity relationship database model is based on entities, attributes, and relationships in the form of picture to make the developer understand the system better. So all is represented in an entity relationship diagram, which is the ERD. So this is the example whereby I'm having student, teachers, then lecturer. So here it means that a student gets to be taught by many lecturers. So this is the relationship, which is one-to-many, and teachers is going to be our relation. And then even here, lecturer takes classes, like lecturer takes many classes, many-to-many. So you can keep on relating. Then moving on, looking at the advantages, it is easy to understand, visual representation, which is very easy to interpret. Then effective communication tool because it speaks out whatever is going to take place. Then it can easily be integrated to the relational database model, as you are going to see later on because we have not yet looked at this model. Then disadvantages, limited constraint representation. It does not show you the limitation of the data, that is if it should be in text, figures, or dates, etc. Then loss of information content. So here they mean that not enough space to represent all the data information. Then no data manipulation language. So here you don't get the right to manipulate data. So now looking at the fourth model, which is the relational data model. So under this model, data structures are stored in form of tables. So relational data is perceived by the users as a collection of tables for data storage. So all the database operations are done with relations between the tables, and the tables relate by sharing primary keys in the tables to enable data communication. Then a primary key, if related in the new table, it becomes a foreign key. So most relational databases use high-level language like SQL, which is the standard query language. So here I'm having an example of the bank account and the customer details. Now these two relate to each other because of the account number, which is the same, that gets to which I get to use to in order to relate to the two of them. So I already know that this will be my primary key, and this is the branch field having Kampala, London, and Nairobi. Then I'm having the balance amount, which is the amount field. Then this entire row is going to be my record, or what I call the tuple. Then if at all I want to relate to the customer details with my bank account, I'll be using the unique identifier, which is the primary key. If at all I want to know the balance account for Brenda, I'll call in to the bank, and the bank will check the number, the account number from this, because this is the primary key unique identifier, and they'll give us feedback that the balance amount is 500. So this is the example for that. So moving on, looking at the advantages. Advantages are easier to implement, management, and use. So this is because of the use of common primary key in each of the tables. Then powerful database management system. All databases follow this principle. For example, Oracle. So looking at the disadvantages, extensive hardware and system software overhead. Here, what do they mean? You have to invest in a lot into the kind of softwares and hardwares that you are going to use. Then disadvantage number 2, relational databases lack the support for complex data types such as images and videos that many applications and websites require in the modern day. So that is it for today. Make sure you subscribe, and also so that you can also get notification to other data type models.